Good evening, all. Can you hear me now? If you can hear me, just type yes message in the chat window, loud and clear. So if I'm audible, okay, great. I can see that I'm audible. Great. So this is Kahoot. I have a few questions here. Then you can just log in from your phone. So you all can join in short. I can see a few people online in the chat window. Alright, so 24 players are here. I can see 26 in YouTube online, but 24 are here. Okay, no worries. So let's start the game. And I'm starting it here. This is the first question. Okay, wonderful. So zero correct answers. This is the first time in the history, right, that we have zero correct answers. That means, if you remember automation history, right? So about automation tool, I have described few things yesterday. I put some name like Ansible, Terraform, and so many, right? But I divide it further in a CI/CD part. So when you say automation, it by default means automation of resources and servers. But Jenkins or what other categories we have, they are CI/CD tool, right? They are CI/CD means CI/CD and automation. They both are different. So Jenkins is not an automation tool; it's a CI/CD tool. Anyway, so these are the most fastest people who have given the wrong answer. Anyway, now next. I think it's very tough question. So wonderful, good job. So that means you are watching tutorials again. 23 people have given the right answer. Anyway, so whatever people you have joined in the later, so for you the game pin and the website name is already written. If you want to join right now, you can join it. Anyway, so these are most fastest people, right? So for your kind information, I can tell you, the most fastest people will come in the ranking. Okay. This is for Jenkins actually. This question for Jenkins, user and port number in Jenkins. I just missed it. Wonderful. So 16 correct answers. Let's see. Okay. Now, next. Good one. So I've given two choice. Either you can select one or more. So the right answer is all, but if you know only red hat, so you can choose the first option. Anyway, both options are correct. So by the way, this can be also used in Jenkins installation. Great. Kajal is on fire. Very good. Wonderful. So the right answer is B. That is valid Jenkins. So today we are going to talk about this. Anyway, okay. Good. So the right answer is last. You can start the service of Jenkins by using any of the method given here. Okay, so three people have given the right answer. Okay, wonderful. Good job. So it's version control system, by the way. Okay, great. Second last question. Good job. So 11 people have given the right answer. Automation anywhere is an automation tool, but it's not a CI/CD tool like Jenkins. Anyway, so great. Now, final question of the day. Good one. So 16 correct answer, let's say. Great. Good job. So these are the top 5 people anyway. Where are the... Okay. Good. Okay. So let me start this my system. I can say my lab, and then I'm going to log in here. Uh, Kushi, it's in your own instance or in my system? You're talking about your own instance, no? Or my system? Or my AWS IP? So let me tell you one thing. If you are installing Jenkins in your AWS, anyway, great. So anyway, so revising the things what we have discussed yet, that we are going to talk about DevOps pipeline, and in the DevOps pipeline we are just using this software called Jenkins, and Jenkins is something that can do CI and CD for you. All right, first of all we have to understand Jenkins, then we do CI and CD. Okay, so to understand Jenkins, what we have done, we have installed Jenkins in our machine. Okay, installation can be done in all 3 ways: on top of Linux, on top of Windows, and in a container. Okay, so wherever you want to run it, very much up to you. It's very similar, right? So what I can do now, I can just check. Yes, in my Amazon Linux here I have Jenkins pre-installed because we did yesterday. Okay, you can also check some more information about Jenkins software by QI, so it will give you a lot of information about the current version, releases, and the installation date, and so many things about Jenkins. Okay, so once you install this Jenkins for the first time, right, so you can check how many software you are just getting from Jenkins. Okay, so if you want to check how many files and folders you are getting after installation of this Jenkins, you can use in Red Hat system rpm-ql. Okay, and you will get these many softwares and these many files, where the most important one is this one. So this var Jenkins is a database location, or I can say database location of Jenkins. Okay, so that means whatever you will be performing in Jenkins, everything will be stored under here. and it's very similar to database location of Docker. In database location of Docker, it was just Docker here, and here it is Jenkins. Okay. Now, if you talk about some configuration detail, so if you open this configuration file, okay, in Ubuntu, how you can check that? So if you have Ubuntu based OS, dpkg-s Jenkins, sorry, dpkg- ql or something is there. I think it's L Jenkins. I don't think so it's installed in my system, but dpkg-l, and if I grep it like Jenkins, let me check it with Firefox. dpkg-l Firefox, like this you can check, or maybe you can check configuration information about like this. So in I can say in Ubuntu you can check it by -s. Okay, otherwise you can also check for more information about -help. So you get the status of installation, directories and files. So really -s will be fine. Okay, so you can check it by -s, because Ubuntu is not giving that much list of information. Okay, status is also okay. So this is the configuration file where I want to show you one thing. When you install Jenkins, it's written there, the database of Jenkins is this, and what will be the username of Jenkins is Jenkins. I'll tell you what is the username, and it is connecting to Java library. What will be the default port number? Everything is written here. So in case you want to change some information, you can change it from here itself. Okay, now if you want to start a service, actually under etc init.d, this is a file. Okay, and this file supports start argument, and that is very similar to systemctl start Jenkins. Okay, so that means either I start like this, init.d Jenkins start, or you know that, see, it is actually connecting via system control and static like that. So even if I check this systemctl status Jenkins, yes, it's running. Okay, and it's bounded with the port number 80. If you want to check the port number boundation in your OS, you can type a command called ss or ss-ntlp. So we'll check that after just starting that Jenkins service, Java with the process ID with the port number 800 got started. Instead of ss, you can also use nested-ntlp to check the binded port. Okay, so I just want to introduce here, because Jenkins is nothing, it's a JVM process running in your OS. All right, and you can check the bounded process of your process with the operating system port number by using either this command or this command, just for information, right? So let me open that Jenkins portal from my browser right here. Okay, so by default my user is admin and something is my password, so I'm just logging here. Okay, so this will be your Jenkins dashboard, by the way. Whosoever, if you want to install Jenkins in your Docker, so this is the right image. I'm just pasting it in my chat window. This image if you use, okay, then you can easily use Jenkins in container. This image is very popular these days. Only this command you have to hit, then Jenkins will be automatically up and running. Okay, so anyway, I've just given this idea. Now this is my Jenkins dashboard. Okay, so what you have to do, you have to understand few things about Jenkins. So in Jenkins, you can see here under people, first of all, here under people, you can create multiple users. So that means if this is your OS and here you are running Jenkins server, okay, Jenkins server, then a user can connect this Jenkins by using web UI, and that web UI needs to be authenticated, and the authentication is by default admin, and there is some password, but that authentication detail is very much confidential and very much powerful. That means this is an admin access of this Jenkins. So in case if you want to create more account here in Jenkins server, you have this people tag, okay, and in the people tag you can create multiple account, right? And the second thing is that is very most important. Right now you don't have to do that. So that is very most important is manage Jenkins. So by manage Jenkins, you can check couple of informations here. Let's say how to connect from Jenkins command line, how to check the status, how to check the logs, and many more things. Okay. But the most important thing you have to understand in the manage Jenkins option is the second option, configure global security, and this option, manage plugins. So we are going to use this configure global security somewhere and this manage plugins. Okay, so we'll be talking about plugins later on, but these two things are important to remember as of now. Okay, so now I'm just going back to my Jenkins dashboard. This is my Jenkins dashboard. So what I need to do here, first of all, anything I want to perform, right, anything, let's say I have a code and that code I'm just committing it or uploading it on my Git repo. Okay, so I want Jenkins to take that code automatically. It can pull that code and the changes as well, and then it can build it, or I can say integrate with the Docker or anything that you want. And that process must be in automation. You don't have to tell Jenkins every time that yes, now you have upgraded your code or you have made some changes here. So this, whenever there is a commit in Jenkins, it must be triggered by this. That means whenever you do change in GitHub, it must automatically detect. Okay, so that means now Jenkins will create a job. That job will contain all information about your code and everything, how it's gonna maintain that. Okay, so what I'll do, first of all, in the very first time, what you need to do in Jenkins, you have to click on the new item. So when I'm clicking on the new item, you'll be seeing you have to just write something. Let's say I'm writing my first project. Okay, this is my job name, and there are kind of projects. Okay, so as of now you can start with the freestyle project. Freestyle means you are allowed to configure accordingly, right? So whatever way you want to use, you can use that to configure. So I'm gonna use this freestyle project first and just clicking on OK. Freestyle OK. So the new page will be opening for Jenkins. See, and here you can just write the description. So let's say I'm writing it like my demo project, just playing with Jenkins. Okay, this is something, just ignore these options as of now. You can see here in the tab, the second tab is source code management system. So the project that you are working on, in what source code management system it is present. So if you click here, it will be coming here. So by default, if you don't have code in any of the source code management system, you can just click none. Otherwise, by default, Jenkins support Git and SVN. So these are two SAM get an SVN. This is by default. If you want to, add more source code management system here, you can add it. I can tell you how. Why this none option is given? Because sometimes you need to test your command of OS. You need to do some internal testing that is already installed in your OS. So let's say none option means if you don't have code in any of the SVN. Okay, fine. So I'm using none. As of now, build trigger, I'm not going to talk about what is it. Okay, now just ignoring that build environment. So the first thing you have to understand is build. How build is going to happen. Build means how the process is going to run. Okay, so I'm just clicking on here. We have so many options. See, execute batch command, shell, and gradle, invoke, runtime, and set build pending commit. Out of all this, that means Jenkins can connect to these many ways to access or deploy the software. If you are running Jenkins in a Windows machine, so you can use this option. If you are running in a Linux machine, you can use this option. So right now let's focus on the first and second only, because maybe you don't know about ant, gravel, and so many things. So I'm using execute shell, and the first command I want that my Jenkins can run for me. So let's say what I want as of now is this is me and this is my Jenkins server, and this Jenkins server is running on top of OS, and I'm connecting here in the web UI. Okay, then I'm building a job, and what that job will do, first of all, this job is trying to access some OS command. So I can just try with the little one. Let's say I'm just writing calendar 2020. So I want to see the calendar 2020 because I can write any of the command of the operating system as of now. Okay, so I'm just going to save it. So this project got configured. Now if you want to execute that project, so that means if you want to execute that job, or I can say if you want to run that job, you need to just click on build. Okay, so I'm just clicking on the build. So build got scheduled. It will take a while. Okay, and it got successfully run. If you get a blue dot here, you can see the output is successful. And if I'm clicking here, okay, you can see. So this is the output of that process. Alright, so whatever you are just connecting, you can just check it here. So what we have to do in CI/CD, we have to automatically trigger that build. So that means this build we don't have to run it manually like this. So a developer will do some action, and on behalf of some action, this job will be triggered. Okay, this job will be triggered. So now let me tell you one thing. Can Jenkins run any big command? So that if you want to change the command, first of all, I'm just going to show you a dashboard. This is my first project. If I want to change the command that I have given, I can click here and I can just click on configuration. Again, in the configuration, I can go in the last, and here I can change the command. So that's for this time I'm typing ifconfig and I'm saving it, and I'm building it again with number 2. So I've run it twice. See, number 2, it is also successful, and this is the outcome. Now you can see here Docker is also installed in this machine. So if you see, Docker is already installed here, and I can check by Docker images. Yes, it's installed. So can Jenkins also run Docker? So let me go back to project and click on configuration, and here in the command line, what I'm doing, I'm just clicking on Docker images. I'm just typing Docker images here, When I'm typing Docker images, that means can my system, can my Jenkins connect to Docker images? Let's see. Just saved it and click on build now. Remember, this build is manually right now. We don't have to do this manually ever. So when I'm clicking on the build, whoa, if you see here, we got the red message. Okay, this red message means the connectivity to the Docker daemon is getting failed by Jenkins, right? So, and if you go to your dashboard, main dashboard, you see here, whenever your project got failed, you get some cloud on your real sun. And if you fail projects so many times, this cloud will become very heavy. So see, let's see if I just build it again, right? 4. So if I go back to dashboard, see, it becomes complete cloud. And if this got failed again, okay, if this got failed again, you see here again, so I can just go back and you can check here, now it's raining. And if you fail again, it will become worst. Okay, anyway, so this is just a status, is your project is healthy or working fine or not. But the concern is how your Jenkins can connect to Docker engine that is running on the same OS as of now, that is running on the same OS. So simply means this Jenkins is also running on the same OS and it's also running, but this Jenkins is not able to connect Docker engine. So to check the real problem, we should understand why it is not able to connect when we both are on the same host. Okay, so first of all, let me tell you one thing. When you have logged in your Jenkins server, you logged in with the username called admin, and that admin user is just for dashboard. Okay, this admin user is not connecting to OS, right? And if the admin user is not connecting to OS, this OS cannot give you connection of Docker engine. Okay, so there is some other user in the backend. The username is coincidentally Jenkins. Okay, so that is connecting to OS, and OS is now connecting to Docker engine by Jenkins user. So you know that normal users are not allowed to connect. So if I can show you in the configuration what exactly the username of Jenkins server, it's not the admin user. Who am I? So I'm just saving this and building again. This 6 number build is a success, and if you see here, who am I having the answer of Jenkins. So right now what is happening, we are logged in with the admin user, but Jenkins is performing every single operation by the name of Jenkins user. Okay, so now I can figure out this Jenkins user is not allowed to access Docker engine, and the reason is pretty simple, right? Because Jenkins cannot do that. So what I'll do in my Linux machine, I'll add this Jenkins user to the Docker group. Okay, and what you have to do, you have to restart your Jenkins server as of now, because just added this, and let me just log out. Okay, and after logout I'm logging again. So if you're restarting it, your browser can take time to get rid that application, and I'm logging again. Alright, hopefully if everything is fine as of now, So I can just go and click on configure project, and there I'm gonna just click that docker images command. Okay, and I'm saving it back again, and let's build it again. So once it is building again, see, this time it got successfully run. And if I click here, now your Jenkins user is able to connect to your Docker. So it's very easy. The way we have done is simply we are adding this user in this Docker group. And when we are adding this user in the Docker group and we're starting the service of Jenkins again, then everything is success. Now what you can do, you can simply connect to your GitHub folder. So you know what, why I'm teaching you Jenkins, because it has a very big case or big use case. All right, and what is that big case? So let's say you are team web. By the way, I've asked for team web Dev to connect with me on 10:30, but nobody connected. I don't know what was the reason. By exit code, Harsh, by exit code. If exit code is 0, it's correct, and exit code is not 0, it's not correct. Okay, so if you're a web dev group and you are coding things here, and now you are just uploading your code on Git. Okay, so once you are updating your code, you need to create a job in Jenkins. Okay, and the job you are going to create, that will take the Git code, Git repo, and it can build it. So let's understand the meaning of build. So let's say if you are uploading your code on the Git or any other source code management system, so once you push the code here, definitely you are pushing after checking it. So your Jenkins can build it. So you have to create a job first, and that can build it. So when I say build, let's say if this is your HTML code, so it can build a Docker image of that code. If it is a Java code that you are pushing, it can make a jar of it. If it is a .NET code, it can create a exe of it after testing. Or if it is a Python code, it can take a Py package. And there are so many tools. So that means we have a couple of options where we are going to build that, because once you build it, it can be used for deploying that product, right? So once you are pushing the code here, it will build automatically according project or product, and we have so many options to build. So if this is happening automatically, we are calling it continuous integration. Okay, so it is continuously integrating your older code to new code and to make a new jar, new exe, new Py, or new Docker image automatically. And it can also push it on some location. Okay, so yes, though both the groups are different. Okay, by the way, if you're not serious about the projects, make sure you're not getting any certificate from here. Okay, so try to connect it today itself. Anyway, so now this is something. So what I'm doing is, let me just log into my GitHub, and let's create a repo. All right, so I'm just clicking on the new repo. Let's say web dev summer 2020. Okay, making it public, and I'm initializing it from here. Okay, and then I'm creating it. Alright, once I'm creating it, let me clone that thing. So my current scenario is developer will be in some different location and the Jenkins is running in somewhere else. So what I'm doing, my Jenkins is running in AWS, but I'm going to clone that folder or git repo in my here. Okay, so as a DevOps engineer, what I have to do, so let me take one sample code first of all. So what I'm doing, I'm taking one sample code because I'm not going to build any project. So git or sample HTML code on GitHub, and I'm taking it this one. Alright, and let me just clone that project. Once you clone another git project under the top git, you have to remember or you have to maintain something under the another project. Make sure you don't have any .git folder. So what I'm doing, I'm just removing it .git folder from the next project. So the point is my project git is this. Okay, my project git is this, likewise, but my project folder is this. So this is my HTML project folder. I'm renaming it project HTML2, let's say my portal, and this portal has a lot of code here. Okay, the portal has a lot of code, so what should I do? I have to create a kind of Docker image here. So in this location, what I'm going to do is very simple. Here I'm going to put my code along with Docker file. So I'll write a Docker file here, and I'm not going to repeat anything about Docker file because we have a lot of sessions about Docker files. So I'm just gonna put something here. I'm gonna run dnf install stdpd, and then I'm gonna copy that my portal to where www.html, right? It's very simple. I'm gonna use this expose keyword, and I'm gonna use this some another variable. Maybe in near future we might use that. My portal 1 expository, and entry point is stdpd-d for ground. So I'm assuming everything that you guys are already understanding whatever I'm doing here. Okay, so what I've done, I have written my portal folder and where my all codes are here. Okay, and to use that code, I have already written my Docker file. Fine, and that will be used for building this Docker image. So what I'm doing now, I'm just doing git add, git commit day 1 web dev and first project test, and then I'm pushing it here. Fine, so I'm pushing this. Okay, I need to check my password. And now I'm pushing it on GitHub. So the overall thing is, what I have done is I've created one repo under here, I copied some code from somewhere. You don't have to do that. You don't have to copy that. You have to make it by own. And if you want to build a Docker image, so you have to write the Docker file along with that. If you want to build a jar, so you have to write that script that can create your product into jar, or Docker has its own options as well. Okay, so this is something that this URL you have to give to the Jenkins. So let me ask you, as of now, whatever it is happening, so what I'm trying to do is this is me and this is my laptop. I'm writing my code here, and because I want to build a Docker image, so I have also written Docker file, code with Docker file, and I'm uploading it all things in my Git repo. So this is my code folder, this is my Docker file. Now the Jenkins server is running in AWS cloud. Here Jenkins is running, and as of now in the same machine, right, in the same machine, Docker engine is also running. Okay, now I want to build a job by my Jenkins portal, so that whenever I push my code in my repo, definitely after making the changes, then Jenkins can automatically pull that and it will build a new Docker image from this Docker file, the code that we have upgraded. So that means we need to understand that we need to build that image on behalf of it. Okay, so this build process must be automatically. I don't have to build it manually. So if you guys are understanding it, what I'm trying to do, so you can just say yes in the chat window. If this thing you are understanding, just say yes in the chat window so that I can understand, yes, you are getting some points. Right, so waiting for your response, so do it quickly. Okay, so I'm getting a lot of yes messages. For Harsh, Sonu, Rhythm, Jayesh, you all are doing great. Okay, fine. So now what I'll do, I'll take that Git repo URL and I'll go to my Jenkins dashboard. Let me make a new job. So say ad hoc team web. Just selecting on the first freestyle project, clicking on OK, and let's say my team name is dashboard reloaded, and we are coding in HTML, Angular, Node and Python backend, MySQL database, and we are building Docker image with our code. So this is description that is very important to write it, because whosoever will use your job, they can just take it forward. Okay, now I'll go in the next. Here I can select Git and I can copy that URL of Git project. So it's actually I have to use HTTPS, not SSH. So what I'll do is this. Fine. So let me just click on add. Fine. I'm cancelling it. So I think Git is not installed in my system, in my machine. Yes. So what I need to do, I need to install Git here first. Okay, in which machine I have to install? Where the Jenkins is running. Okay, once the Git is installed, I think I have to load it again, but let's check. Let me just reload it and clicking on the Git. Yes, just reload and it got detected. And now, so I've given this name. My team is dashboard reloaded. Okay, and this Git URL. If it is a private Git, you can add username, password as well. And then build trigger. So that means when I want that my build automatically trigger, I don't have to do it manually here. So that means when I push this image in my repo, it must build automatically. But how your Jenkins will understand that you are pushing in XYZ time? So that means how Jenkins will understand that you are pushing your code in, in the night, in the mid, in the evening, in the morning, whenever, because you're free to push. So what Jenkins will do, Jenkins server will connect to Git repo in a periodic way, right? So that periodic name is maybe every minute, okay? Maybe in every 5 minutes, in every day, every week, that you can configure, okay? So that thing, to check the new push in your Git repo, Jenkins has to check in every periodic way. So that thing, checking your push message on your repo, we call it poll SCM, right? So if you see here in Jenkins dashboard, in the build trigger we have poll SCM. We have build periodic, but we have poll SCM. Poll SCM is the good option, okay? So I'm clicking on here and I can write this, that yes, in what interval of time it's gonna check your poll SCM. Okay, so first of all, you have to give me two answers in the chat window. The first one, did you understand poll SCM? Number one. The second is, how many of you are aware about the cron job? So if you understand poll SCM, then type yes. If you are also aware about cron job, then type yes again. So you have to type two yes, YY for both, YN, this is for yes and no, and NN, that means you don't understand poll SCM and you don't know cron job. And definitely N and Y, you don't understand poll SCM, but you understand cron job. Okay, so give your response in a very quick way so that I can take it likewise. So 4 options you have to type. So maximum YN, NN, YN, YN, YN. Okay. So all right. Fine. So Shraddha is smart. She understands both. Okay. So let me take both thing here, pole SCM and cron job. So what is pole SCM? First of all, pole SCM is, if this is your Jenkins server and this is your Git repo, okay, and this is you. You as a developer, you are pushing this image, the changes in the code in your Git, because you are people like you who has a team. So you can push it your code in any time in your Git. But how Jenkins will understand that when you have pushed this? So what Jenkins will do? Jenkins can check that Git repo in an interval of time. And that time can be every day, right? Every minute, every second. Second is very minor, but every second can also be every minute, every week, everything. So in whatever time interval of format it will do, that thing we call it pole SCM. So pole SCM means how Jenkins will check Git repo for the most recent push, so that on behalf of it, this pole SCM can build the job. So that's what the pole SCM is all about. First thing. Now the second about cron job. So how pole SCM will understand that every day, every minute, every month, every week I have to connect with Git. So this time format is provided by a software called cron job. Okay, so that means how your Jenkins server will connect to Git repo, I mean in what time format. So cron job has a time format, and that format is divided into a couple of categories. So it is starting from minute, right? And minute we have 0 to 59. Then it's hour, that is 0 to 23. Then we have date, that is 1 to 31st. Then we have month, that is 1 to 12. Then we have a day, that is 0 to 7, where this 0 and 7 stand for Sunday, and 1 to 6 accordingly Monday to Saturday. Okay, so you have to write time format in this cron job way, and the way we have to write minute, hour, date, month and day. So it has 5 fields. Alright, so I hope now you are understanding pole SCM and cron job both. So if it is yes, then type yes in the chat window or double Y, so that I can take it forward. Alright. So just type yes. Right. So now you are understanding it very well. Great. So how to write this cron job format now? So about cron job format or cron job time format is something like this. So let's say I want my Jenkins to check my Git repo every day or every Monday morning 9:30. Every Monday, right? Every Monday morning 9:30. Because my team is, only pushing Sunday night in Git repo. So that's the team leader decided you have to push every night here. So you are checking it Monday 9:30. So how you write that here? So if you say here, first is minute, okay? In the minute, what I have to write? 30, because the minute is 30. R is 9, because we want to check for every day, so it doesn't matter what date it is. So I can put it star. So the field that is not going to matter for your achievement or for your target, you just can write star. So any date, it doesn't matter, I want 9:30 only. So any month doesn't matter, but the day must be 1. So that means it is 9:30 every Monday. So that means you are running this job weekly, right? So every day in the morning 9:30. So let's say you want to run every month, So what you can do, you can just write 59:23, and you can put the date first, okay? It doesn't matter whatever month it is. It doesn't matter whatever date it is. Whatever date is. That means if the date is 1, then 23:59, right? Because this is a unique combination. So this will be monthly. Okay. Now, because the minimum field is minute, so you can put it like star, 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 star. If you put it all star, that means per minute. And if you want to check in every 15 minutes, it's a minute divided by 15, and everything is star. So that means now you are checking this in every 15 minutes. Okay. See, so I think Khushi, you got the answer already. So you can put 10. Alright. So if you guys are understanding this format 1, 2, 3 and 4, just say yes in the chat window. 1, 2, 3 and 4. Alright. So if you all are understanding the same, please type yes in the chat window, or you get it, so that I can just create my first build. Okay. Great. So now what I'm doing here is I'm going to my build, and the pose is same. If I am just putting at least one space, you have to give. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 star means every minute. Okay. So I'm just checking my build to be triggered every minute, right? And how about building environment? So that part we'll discuss later. But in the build, what I'll do, in the shell, I have to write this docker build, let's say -t web or dashboard reloaded version 1 and dot. Now the good point is you don't have to worry where your Docker file is. You have to put dot, because the smartness of Jenkins is, first Jenkins will clone that code automatically. You don't have to write git clone command even. Jenkins will clone that code from this repo, and it will go to that location where the Jenkins is cloning all this, and then on that location it will hit that command. So that means you don't have to worry where exactly Jenkins is cloning that repo. Okay, so now I'm going here and let me save this. Alright, so once you save that, every minute they are checking it. Alright, that means every minute. So I think if you understand, every minute they are checking it, that means in every 1 minute. See, if you have seen this build is automatically triggered now. I haven't just click on the build now option, because the first time we have committed here on my git repo, and they are building this new image and it got successfully built. See, if you check here in the output, okay, see, so what exactly happened? So they initialize it, they take it, they clone it, they configure it, and they downloaded all the data. And once the download is done, so they are executing this command and everything is running automatically. And if I show you here by Docker images, see, I got this dashboard reloaded, right? This is automatically dashboard reloaded is there. Alright, now the point is, when the dashboard reloaded is building, so it will not build the project again until unless there is no change. See, only one build is happening. Even if I wait for 2 minutes or 3 minutes or 5 minutes, it will not build, because the build is automatically going to happen whenever there is a push. So I created one job and now I pushed it to my git repo, and in my Jenkins it is checking this in every 1 minute, and if it is done, it is building a Docker image, right? Once it is building a Docker image, definitely you have to understand, every time now you just push the code here, it will build a new Docker image. Okay, and that build process will be very much manageable. Alright, so now see, the second build is not happening, and it's around see 2 minutes 28 seconds ago last build got happened. But let me just change something here in my git repo. So what I'm doing, I'm a developer here and I'm going to make some changes in my code. Let's say I'm changing in my index.html. Yes, Devops cloud is done. Okay, so I'm just making some change in the comment message. So in the comment message, I'm changing it like Azure DevOps project has been successfully set up by ad hoc. Okay, and I can make some changes here, like I can just write a h1 tag, hello Jenkins. See, I'm just saving it. You know that the second job will not be triggered yet. So what I'll do, because if you see here git status, the file got modified. Okay, so what I can do, if I don't want to add it all the time, so I can just use git commit -message, let's say few changes in index.html, and I can use -a. So it will add and commit both. See, either you can use git add and then git commit, or you can use that. So it will add and commit both. Then I can push it. Okay. So once this will be pushed, I can just show you here. We got 2 commits now. How I can cross check the same? And if you check here, the most recent commit is this. And if you check here, wait for a minute again. Okay, see, the second build is automatically triggered. So I didn't click anything and it got successfully built. See, again, same thing. And if I'll show you in my dashboard images, so earlier it was 246, now it is new image. I can show you the history also, Docker history of this image. It's a v1. Okay, so this is my most recent image, and if you see here, the most recent is this one. Anyway, so it is automatically making a new thing. Alright, so I hope you are understanding that how Jenkins is checking in every minute, and then whenever there is a new commit found, it will build it automatically. So right now it is building, it is not creating any container. Okay, so if you all are understanding the same, you can tell me. So if it's okay for all of you, then type OK in the chat window that yes, you understand this part practically and conceptually, that yes, every time you push code on GitHub, it will just build it. Okay, although this part is not very much useful as of now, because you know what, there is a lot of scenarios that are going to happen. Okay, and what are those scenarios in reality? The scenarios are, as of now, you are a developer and you are in your system and you are pushing the code on in GitHub. Now there is another server running somewhere, and that server is running your Jenkins along with Docker engine. Okay, and here in this Docker engine, you have built a job and you are just checking the changes and you are building it automatically. But because this is a Jenkins server, so you're not going to deploy your container here. So what you have to do, you have to trigger another server where you have to run Docker engine. Okay, so Docker engine. Now you need to create another job, and that will be running on behalf of this. So if this job will be a success, then this job will be running, and what this job will do, this job will use that Docker image, the one that you build it, the build Docker image, and it will create a container from the same Docker image. It will create container here. So remember, this is you, this is your Jenkins server where Docker engine is running, and you are building this Docker image every time whenever there is a push. But deployment of container or your application is not going to happen in Jenkins server. So you have to ready another machine, and the same Docker image you have to deploy here. Okay. Now the question is how this Docker engine will copy that Docker image. So you don't have to copy it here. So what you have to do, you have to configure your Jenkins to push the Docker image that you build on Docker Hub. And then from this Docker Hub, the new Docker engine will be pulling it. And then it will create container. So you don't have to do like this. You have to push it to the Docker Hub, and then you have to pull it from here and create a new container every time. Or you can update the container. So I think if you are understanding that scenario, that deployment of your application is not going to happen in the same machine where Jenkins server is running. So it is going to create container somewhere else, and that is not you again. This is the job of Jenkins to create container or newly container every time whenever there is a change, there is a push. Okay, so this will be your first pipeline if you will be able to done that, this and this and this and this. Okay, so are you guys understanding it? That this will be your first pipeline. Alright. So waiting for your response. Yes, if you are understanding that scenario that is right now in the screen, just type yes or okay in the chat window so that I can understand. Yes, you guys are getting it very well. Alright, so I'm getting few messages. Anyway, now the point is how Jenkins server push image to Docker Hub, because when it is pushing the image to the Docker Hub, what you have to do, you have to log in Docker Hub account, and where you need to supply password. See, so if you know, whenever you do Docker login command, it is asking for a username password. So who is going to type that username password automatically for you? Okay, so that means Jenkins is not having any command line approach to type Docker login command then push it. So to do such kind of things, Jenkins has a very smart option. We call it Jenkins plugins. Okay, so Jenkins has a plugins for everything. Let's say if you want to build a Docker image and push it on Docker Hub. So this entire thing, that means building and pushing on the Docker Hub, this can be done by an add-on or plugins. So plugins are very similar to add-ons in browser. Okay, so what I have to do, I have to install one plugin. So how we can install plugin? I can just go in manage Jenkins option, and if I go down, I have this manage plugins. Right here I'm just clicking on the available button, and I'm just clicking for kind of, you know, Docker. Okay, and when I'm clicking for Docker, I have couple of options. So the one that you can use is Cloud Beige Docker Build and Push. So it's very good plugin. So I'm just selecting this Cloud Beige Docker Build and Push, and I'm just clicking on the install without restart. Okay, so it will take those plugins and try to check your internet connection and updates, then it will install it. So just wait. As of now it's pending, right? So preparing for the installation. I don't know why it got failed, so maybe we need more plugins. So let's say I go to manage plugins again, and here I'm gonna just check here, available, and clicking on Docker, right? And what I need to do is one Docker build step, yet another Docker, because sometimes or image tag and only Docker. So I'm just adding few options, right? And few more Docker compose build step. Let's do that. We can do that, but the problem is, Harsh, to push. How we gonna push that image? So this image and this plugins we are installing just to automate the push process. That's it. Why it is failing, by the way? Oh, it's saying connection timeout. So maybe a slow internet connection, right? So anyway, just waiting for this response. Anyway, meanwhile it is getting installed. It can be very much dependent on your internet connection. But let's talk about some assignment first. So first of all, the assignment that I have given, you have to update all the assignment max by this Saturday. Okay, the one that I have given in the last YouTube video. I have got some messages by some of people, but assignment is not done yet. Okay, so the assignment you have to submit it, and please today you have to connect with me, people of web dev, if you want to work in project first of all, and I can say Django people also, around 10:30 p.m. Connect me on WhatsApp. I'll assign project, and definitely if you want to do that and you want certificate of internship, then you have to do it. So it's your responsibility completely, not mine, to ping me at this time and get the project. Okay, I'll make a team also of your own, but you have to just connect me that time. Okay, so let's see. It is again getting failed due to internet connection, but anyway, so I can just try it another time when the internet will be fine. So that time will, or maybe that thing will do tomorrow. So for now, if you have any question, you can ask. Otherwise, it's thank you so much for today, and have a good day or good night. See you tomorrow, same time. And please connect me for the project tonight itself. If you are making a delay, it will be a problem for you. Okay. So in short, this is our first session of Jenkins. where you learn that integration part. So if you have something to ask, you can just say yes, or you can ask, otherwise we can just, okay, great. So I'm ending this session as of now. If you have any question, you can connect me via call.